How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to another episode of Cosplay Con Talk, where we basically discuss everything pertaining to the cosplay community and conventions. Tonight, we are doing another segment of Get to Know That Cosplayer, and I'm joined here by uh,
Anna's Moon River. Hi,
Annis Mover.
everyone.
Sorry, I spaced out your name. How are you doing tonight, Annis?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing rather well. Thank you again for coming on tonight to basically talk about how you got into cosplay and all that stuff.
Absolutely. So excited to be here.
So, as always, the first question I always ask the cosplayer is, how long have you been cosplaying for?
I've been cosplaying about 6 to 7 years. I'm right there in the cusp of seven.
Nice, nice. What got you into cosplaying?
Um, my sister, she did drag me to my first con, and after that, I kind of took the ball and ran with it. I fell in love with it instantly, much more than her actually. So it's kind of something that I loved as soon as I kind of just saw everyone doing it.
Nice. So, what was your very first cosplay?
My first cosplay was actually Zatanna. And it's something I was able to put together with a lot of time and a lot of excitement because I was looking forward to my first con.
Nice. And on that topic, what was your first con?
My first con was actually San Diego Comic Con, which is a huge one to kind of have like kind of just jump feet first into, but it was very exciting.
And would you recommend, for those who are thinking about going to their first con, would you recommend San Diego Comic Con for someone's first con, or should they start at a smaller con before going to something like that big and well known?
I would start with the smaller con because you do get to experience a lot more panels, maybe even speak to, some local artists and some of your favorite comic book artists. It's just a lot easier at the smaller ones than at Comic Con where there's so many people.
And did you go for all the days or just like 1 or 2 days?
So the first time I actually went to San Diego Comic Con, I actually was only able to go one day, and I was able to go on a Saturday, which was wonderful.
Nice. What did you do at the con? Did you get to meet anyone famous or like, walk around and stuff like that?
Mostly I just walked around. I got to kind of socialize with people in line because you wait in a lot of long lines. I did try to pick up some of the swag, so I did get like a Comic Con T-shirt for that year, things like that. I don't think I was able to make it into any of the panels I wanted to get into just because being my first con and not knowing how crazy it was, I was so unprepared that I didn't plan to like get in line, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour before. So that's definitely a learning experience.
So some of the best advice would be like if you're gonna wait in line, try to get in the line early as possible.
Yes, and map it out ahead of time. I know for a lot of cons, like about a week before the schedules are released and the panels, so you get to know, what time everything's going, and then just kind of schedule your day around it. Like, okay, I want to do this at this time. I got to plan ahead to get into this con, etc.
Now, like most cons, does San Diego Comic Con do they give you like pamphlets with a map of like where's what and everything?
Yeah, you get a whole like welcome package. It's like the big like like bag that everyone wears on their bags, and then it's got like a program detail, and then it's got maps, and then just uh like details for some of the stuff going on in the city as well.
Nice. Yeah, no, I've heard a lot of things about San Diego Comic Con and how big it can get. Speaking of, for your first cosplay, how long did it take you to make Zatanna?
I think overall I was able to kind of put it together with bits and pieces. So half of it was purchased, half of it was made. So I think overall maybe like 10 to 15 hours.
Nice. And I know before COVID hit, did you have any cosplays planned for cons last year before COVID hit?
Yes, I was actually supposed to go to LA Comic Con, and I was supposed to be with a group of villains, like Disney villains, but Disney villains with like going to the spa. So like, spa treatment, just kind of like a fun twist on it. And of course, we weren't able to do that. And then I was already thinking about, my cosplays I had planned for
And
San Diego Comic Con because I had 2-day tickets for that.
nice. And I've seen on your Instagram you've cosplayed a wide variety of characters, from Jessica Rabbit to Pocahontas to, comic book characters.
Yeah, I think that's something I love that like any character I just love, I'm willing to cosplay. I don't stick to like one thing. Sometimes even like the very random ones, from like secondary characters in movies to like anti-heroes to superheroes, villains. I just love it all.
Nice. So, who would you say your favorite, Disney villain was to cosplay as?
I've always wanted to cosplay Jafar, and haven't had the chance to. I have done Captain Hook. I've done two versions of him, both the version from like Once Upon a Time, the series, and then the traditional like Disney-esque Captain Hook. And just super fun character to cosplay. He has so much personality, so it's just a fun one to do.
Nice. Um, Now, is there a cosplay that you haven't done in so long that you would want to bring back once everyone can go back to cons?
Yeah, I actually did cosplayed Batgirl several years ago, and I feel like I didn't get enough out of it, but also I definitely wanted to tweak it because it was very uncomfortable. So I definitely want to bring it back with modifications.
Nice. And is there that one cosplay that you've done once that you would never want to do again?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, I don't think so. I think for the most part, they've all been an experience in itself. Even if it was like, an uncomfortable day or a hot day, like I think I've just enjoyed it so much that there's none as of now that I've completely just retired.
Gotcha. And I know everyone has a different answer for this, but when you've gone to cons and you cosplayed, have you ever had any cosplay mishaps, like someone's on your cosplay's fallen off, ripped, torn, or just something just didn't go right?
Yeah, actually, I did cosplay for Bombshell Batwoman, and she's wearing like the baseball, outfit
Right.
and cleats. And so I had bought these cleats, and I bought them secondhand because I was like, it's just for a cosplay. I'm just wearing them once. I hadn't even walked in to check in where
Oh
like one of the
no.
cleats had completely like the whole sole just fell off.
Oh
And what I
no.
ended up doing was I just ripped the sole off the other one and I just walked in with like cleats with no soles. They were like shoes at that point. And thankfully whatever glue was holding the padded bottom like held together the whole con. But I didn't even make it in before like one just
Oh no.
died.
Speaking of secondhand stores, yeah, would you recommend for those who are just starting out or who wanted to cosplay, would you recommend thrift stores if someone's on a budget?
Oh, absolutely. You can find so many pieces that you won't even find anywhere else, and so many unique pieces that you can, use as inspiration. Like, there's been times I like walk around a store and I'm like, oh, I found this like really nice like faux fur coat, and I was like, Cruella, this is perfect. Like, I want this, and this is what I'm going to cosplay.
Nice.
So it's a great place for inspiration as well.
Nice. That's yeah. No, I've heard from a lot of cosplayers that thrift stores are like your best friend.
Yeah, it's amazing and affordable, and especially if you ended up not liking it, then you don't feel so bad that maybe all this money went into it or something.
Nice. And on the topic of your Cruella cosplay, what do you think of the new Cruella? Do you think that'd be like a future cosplay for you?
Oh, I'm obsessed with it. I think so. I can't wait to actually see, an episode or something and just get the whole feel of like, Emma Stone like being Cruella. So I'm really excited for it. I look forward to it. I do love cosplaying different versions of characters, so that seems
Nice.
fun.
Nice. And what made you like decide one day that you wanted to cosplay as Disney villains?
I think the villains, in my opinion, always have the best songs, And so I think that's one of the things where I'm like, I love just, singing Disney tunes all the time and like just such powerful songs and silly songs sometimes. And I think that's just what kind of got me like, oh, villains are fun. And they have so much personality,
This is true,
sometimes
they do.
character development, and, it's just a fun thing.
Nice. And you've said you've made your own cosplays before, correct?
That's correct.
What would you say your hardest, your hardest build was for a cosplay, whether it be a prop or the cosplay itself?
I think it depends on the character. For me, it's mostly the costumes themselves. I know that there's a costume that I've been working on forever, and it's just like been on my dress form because it's so overwhelming that I go back to it, and I've been doing it in pieces for about 2 years, and I don't even know when it's going to be ready. So I think just when you want to tackle a big project, again, it's another villain. Sometimes you're just overwhelmed by it, so it's best to take it in small doses.
Mind sharing with us what that character is going to be?
It's a female rendition of Jafar from Aladdin. So, but very like glamour, kind of like going to the Oscars, like a very glitzy version of it.
Oh, nice. That'd be pretty interesting to see. What con do you plan on bringing him for?
Well, depending on when cons open, I think once I know cons are going to start to open, I'm going to give myself about a 6 to 8 months, whatever con is like in that time frame, and that's going to be my goal.
Nice, nice, nice. When you go to a con, have you ever been recognized before?
I have, yes, and then I think just like joining the cosplay community and starting, cosplay IGs, you get to know so many people that are even local to you. So you even like look for people that you've socialized with, and it's really fun to kind of meet up and so be able to have that connection.
Nice. And what got you into cosplay, making cosplays?
I think I had always I've known how to sew like very basic things since I was young, just because I would watch my mom sew. My mom was a seamstress and would do things like that. So I would pick up little things where I would like hem some of my clothes or fix it here and there. So once I started cosplaying and saw that as an opportunity to make something from scratch, that's when I kind of um, was inspired to take it to the next level. Started buying patterns and trying to copy looks and watching YouTube videos on how to like, do certain kinds of stitching and adding embellishments. And so that's where it kind of all stemmed from.
Nice. And I'm trying to think of another question here. Give me a minute.
Absolutely.
What kind of advice would you give as well for those who are wanting to like make their own cosplays, like sewing and stuff like that?
I would say definitely reach out if you have friends who know how to do it. I feel like, I'm always willing to help anyone that asks me for help. Also, videos are great. Dress patterns that you buy at the store are a great way to kind of start if you want to just make something pretty specific. And then just don't be afraid to change it up, to make your own rendition of it. So you don't feel like you have to copy everything exactly. So it'll have like your own personality, and maybe it makes it easier for you or still makes it your very own.
Gotcha. Um, Now, do you prefer sewn by hand or do you prefer machine sewing?
Oh, machine sewing 100%. There's been very few things I've had to sew by hand just because of like what they were. Specifically, like we did like Disney Sailor Princesses once, like a mashup of Sailor Moon and Disney Princesses. And the way I had learned to make the gigantic bows was by hand partially. So it's incredibly time consuming, but I feel like they turned out better that way. So if I can help it, I try to use my machine though.
Nice. And what Disney princess did you cosplay as for the Sailor Moon crossover?
I was Esmeralda, which was actually a fun one. So just because you don't see her a lot. And so I'm hoping to eventually cosplay just Esmeralda by herself, like normal traditional Esmeralda from Hunchback of Notre Dame. But it was very fun to do the Sailor Scout version. I love the colors; they're very bright, and then her accessories are, very very fun.
And how long did she take to make?
Um, she actually didn't. I had to pull an all nighter for her. So I waited to the last minute because I was finishing classes, and so I think cumulatively, maybe I want to say like 20, 25 hours, but like 12 of those hours were nonstop the day before.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And have you ever made a cosplay like you had a crunch time where it was like last minute before a con?
Just that one specifically where it was like day of, kind of, middle of the night, 2 hours of sleep and then hit the road. I try not to do that. I'm very good at avoiding procrastination. So I'm never really in that predicament too much.
Nice. And have you do your own makeup too if you're cosplays, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Nice. What would you say your favorite makeup is that you've done for a cosplay?
My favorite makeup. Oh, I did a female version of Darth Vader once, and I didn't want to wear the helmet, so I did a very dramatic like eye mask where I did like lots of glitter, lots of reds, lots of blacks and colors like all around like my eye area to kind of give it like a fun edge without having to wear a helmet all day. So I kind of just carried around the helmet. Um, and so that was my way to kind of go around not melting underneath.
So, if you can remember, how many characters have you cosplayed over the years, if you're able to remember?
Oh my goodness. I haven't the foggiest. I really have no idea. I would say maybe 15 to 20
Oh, wow,
ballpark.
that's quite a bit.
Yeah, I like a lot of simple like closet cosplays too, as they say. So, those are a lot of ones I've been focusing on right now that we're kind of, in quarantine. So I'm trying to do like some of the smaller ones that are kind of easier to put together and that I don't mind putting together just for like an at-home photo shoot, with my camera on timer, as opposed to like something more extravagant. So some of those have been easier to kind of put together, and I've set myself, up to like do a few of those, throughout the next few months, till everything's up and running again.
Right. And what was your last con before COVID hit and everything?
It was LA Comic Con 2019, actually, because I believe, yeah, WonderCon that year had already gotten postponed. Um, so yeah, LA Comic Con 2019, and that's when we did the Sailor Princesses.
Nice. So, would you happen to have any con stories you'd like to share, like, fun experiences and stuff like that?
Um, let's see. Oh, but there was a time my sister actually was collecting these. She was trying to gather every single um, Lord of the Rings Funko Pop. So we were both in cosplay, like huge cosplays, like bulky, like in the way cosplays. And we were just going around booth to booth, filling out her list. She's got every single one right now. I think she was missing at the time like 10 of them. And we were walking around with this enormous bag, like that took up almost a whole aisle, just filling it with like things, not only the Funkos that we were looking for, but just things we would find on a search. And thankfully, this was at San Diego Comic Con. Thankfully, they have a bag check. So at one point, we're like, we just need to go check this in, pay a few dollars, have them hold it till like we pick it up at the end of the day because it it was in the way.
Wait, a bag check. Wait, what is like a bag check? What is that? What are you know what I mean? What is that all about?
So at San Diego Comic Con, what they've had the last few years, or maybe every year, but I've noticed it the last few years because we've used it, is they have a bag check where you can check in your stuff and they hold it till the end of the day for you. So like your purchases. So like let's say you wanted to buy, I don't know, gigantic Captain America shield or something just bulky or something you don't want to hold all day. Every bagged item, so it can be like a small bag or a gigantic bag. They charge you per bag. So we had a huge bag and filled it up, and I think it's like $3 to $5, and then you pay them, and then at the end of the day, you just pick it up and then take it home, so you don't have to carry it around. So it's so convenient.
That's not a bad thing. I'll definitely keep that in mind if I ever go to San Diego Comic Con.
Yes, especially if you want to buy stuff and it's bulky, so you don't have to carry it around or go back to your hotel or drop it off in the car. Um, it's just easy and convenient.
Nice. And on the topic of going to cons and everything, have you ever met any of the special guests and got pictures with them?
No, unfortunately. The lines are always way too long, and a lot of people camp out nights before to get tickets get to get tickets for meet and greets and stuff. So
Oh, jeez.
unfortunately, as of right now, I haven't had the old actually I lied. Once at a very small con for Once Upon a Time. So specifically for Once Upon a Time, the series, I was able to meet Colin O'Donoghue, who plays Captain Hook. So I actually was able to get a picture with him and do the kind of meet and greet thing there. And I loved it because it was a very small con, but then again, it was just catered to one, theme. But I was able to have that experience, which was nice.
That's always a good thing. And so, let's see. So, what kind of small cons have you gone to? Like some that are not like super well known, but if you mentioned it to someone, they would probably know it.
Right. So they had the Anime LA, which is actually in Ontario, and that one's actually pretty close to home. And it's one of those that's still pretty small, but still very involved. So that one is well known in California, and then Palm Springs Comic Con, which I've only been to once, and that was actually the first con I went to when I started my cosplay page. So I had been cosplaying, but I didn't have a cosplay page. So I started my cosplay page right after going to Palm Springs Comic Con. Um, and this was probably like 2017, 2018. And I was dressed as Morticia Adams, which was a terrible mistake because it was the middle of the summer in Palm Springs, which is,
Oh
I think it
no.
was like 106.
Oh no.
And I'm wearing black head to toe, and then the hair and the makeup, and uh, it was it was tough, but yeah, that one was fun. It's very different. That one's split up. It's not one huge like con room. It's like three or four separate buildings, and you kind of just go in and out of the buildings to like different like floors.
Well, I imagine that makes it easier for those who go to that con.
Yeah, definitely. And then it's separated by like, like shopping and then like panels and meet and greets and stuff. So
Eh,
it's easy to navigate.
Very nice. And when you've gone to cons, have you ever had your own cosplay booth before?
I have not, no.
Okay. Would you ever consider, ever wanted a cosplay booth at a con?
Yeah, definitely. I think the hardest thing for me would be deciding what cosplay I want to wear at my cosplay booth. But that seems so fun. It's such a fun way to network and get to know people and kind of just show everything you're working on, that you're planning to work on, and that you worked on in the past. So
Nice. And that, again, that's kind of the idea for this, for this series is to, help cosplayers who are trying to get recognized, out there.
yeah, it's so fun. I love this.
Okay. What would you say your cheapest cosplay is that you've done?
Um, I just recently did Betty Boop, and it was very easy because she's very simple. The bulk of her is just, having the right hair and then the dramatic makeup, which, of course, I didn't have to purchase because I have at home. So that was definitely the easiest. And that was something I was able to just kind of purchase, and I didn't have to make it.
That's good.
So definitely that one. But it was still so fun, especially because not a lot of people cosplay Betty Boop. She's a bit of a niche character.
Yeah, I
So
haven't seen many people cosplay as Betty Boop.
yeah, so it was fun.
How long did it take you to do the hair? Because I've actually
Um,
seen it
I
on Instagram.
Yeah, I've actually wore a wig, which is convenient because I didn't have to try too hard to get it on because my hair is also black, so it's easy to put a short black wig on top of like black hair. It's easier to style. I don't have to try to hide my hair underneath too much. So thankfully, I was able to. I could never curl my hair that much. It would have taken me hours.
Where do you get most of your wigs from for your characters?
A lot of them I get from Amazon actually. Not only because it's affordable, but also if I receive it and the quality is actually not as good as it claimed to be, there's that convenience of returning and getting something you actually want. Plus, it's really easy to search for like very specific colors, very specific cuts. And keeps it affordable. So I can have a bin full of wigs and not feel bad about it. Plus, also like if they get damaged in the con, with the sweat or something gets stuck in it or styling it, it's not a huge loss where you have to stress too much about it.
Nice. And for the about your Velma cosplay, with the one you have used for the thumbnail, what was it like cosplaying as Velma from Scooby-Doo?
Oh, that was so fun. I love Velma. I feel like she's like my favorite character from the series, and I think Scooby-Doo's been around for so long, and it's just such a love show for like all generations. Like they just keep revamping it. So that was so fun. My biggest concern was the wig, just because I have so much hair and trying to put it under like a short wig is always difficult. But it was like just so fun to cosplay her and just kind of walking around, and people really loved it, and I think that's what made it that much more fun.
And would you say that was like one of your most more simpler cosplays, or somewhere in between?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's mostly because it feels like apparel. You're not wearing bulky armor or anything. Aside from the wig being the most uncomfortable part, which is easy. It's a cakewalk. Everything else, is like just clothing. So it's very comfortable to wear, especially in the summer. You don't have to worry too much. Like it's cozy. It's easy to put together. I was able to purchase like bits and pieces all over the place and assemble some of them myself. So kind of like Frankenstein the costume together. So I loved it.
Nice. And how long does it usually take, to put your hair in the bun you needed? So when you put like a short wig or long wig, how long does that normally take you?
Probably like 15 to 20 minutes just because I have to braid it and then bun it and then use like 100 bobby pins to like stick it down, flatten it as much as I can, wig cap, and then hair, whatever wig I put on over, and then trying to conceal like the baby hairs around the head, either with pieces of the wig or just like painting them with some makeup so they blend in. So it's always a long process for sure. I do try to, if I can help it, cosplay characters with dark hair where I could just kind of use my own to avoid having a whole wig scenario.
Nice. Now, what would you say your most? Oh, we got like a minute to go here. What would you say your most
Sure.
iconic cosplay is?
Um, Being a sucker for villains and not just Disney villains, I love Elvira, and I was finally able to cosplay Elvira, and no wig necessary, and I was able to get my hair in that huge poof just on its own, with tons of hairspray, of course. But I just love Elvira, and being able to finally do it, it was great for me.
Nice.
I enjoyed it very much.
And we got roughly a minute to go here. Any advice you want to give, just in general, about the cosplay community and conventions?
Yeah, I would say get it started, like add cosplay people, make friends. There's such a friendly group that someone's always willing to like, help you out if you want pointers or point you in the right direction or give you suggestions. And I've had, just positive experiences having a cosplay page and being in the cosplay community and befriending cosplayers online. Like it's been wonderful. I would say just go for it. It's amazing.
That's definitely a good thing. Again, Anis, thank you for being a guest for tonight's episode of Cosplay Con Talks. Get to know that cosplayer.
All right. Thanks so much for having me.
You are very welcome. As always, everyone, thank you for listening, and until next time, thank you for watching.